So, Buddha Shakyamuni, before becoming known as the Buddha, before reaching enlightenment, when he was known as the Prince Siddhartha, he had different encounters in his life that changed his way of seeing reality, that influenced his own life and consequently influenced the teachings that we received also. There were mainly 4 encounters that are known. There is an encounter with a sick person, encounter with an aging person, encounter with a dying person, and encounter with an ascetic, a monk, a person seeking truth and seeking happiness in a different way than the common way that we know. So in these encounters, the first one, which actually from these encounters and the teachings, it manifests as the 4 different types of sufferings that are inevitable in this life. There's the suffering of birth, which most of us, we don't remember it, but also this doesn't mean that it's not there. It is said that that birth is difficult for the mother, but it's even more difficult for the child. But anyhow, this is not the subject of today. Then there is this suffering of sickness. And sickness inevitably at one point or another manifests. Because we create causes, conditions, and so on. Inevitably, for most of us, at some point, sickness manifests also. Then there is the suffering of death. The suffering of aging. Suffering of aging is also something that, if we do not die young, we will go through. It's a moment in which the body loses its own strength, the mind may lose its clarity. Doesn't need to be in this way for all, but mostly it's like that. The position in society, there is loneliness very often because one is basically forgotten and so on, because everyone is just so much busy with their own self-centered activities that somehow the old people at some points get some sort of forgotten, mostly in our modern society even more. No? But the subject that I wanted to bring today is connected to this part of sickness, the second point. Sickness, all of these are inevitable sufferings somehow once we are in samsara. But sickness is one of the sufferings that very often, whenever sickness manifests, we have this question, why sickness is manifesting? And the reason for sickness is basically 2, which is the same for everything else. And yesterday I was looking at snow, and at one point I was just observing it. I was asking, wow, how incredible it is. Because every flock of snow, actually, it is not there by chance. Every snowflake is not there by chance. Nothing is there by chance. Everything that exists, it doesn't matter what. It's there, it happens as it happens, it is as it is, because causes and conditions were created for it to be there. And sometimes I worry a little bit because when we use the same term many times, there is a danger of losing value of this term sometimes. But actually, it is something very important when we say things happen because causes and conditions were created for it to happen. And everything, there is nothing that happens by chance. Nothing. Everything is completely connected, one piece to the other. And that's why everything happens. In the same way, when we look to sickness, why we get sick? Because causes were created in the past and conditions are being created in the present. It's just because of the union of causes and conditions that sickness manifests. So if I want to avoid sickness myself, what shall I do? First thing, stop creating causes. I'm talking about the future, not about the present. If I want to avoid in the future, I need to stop making the causes. Which are the causes for sickness? All sorts of negative actions. Body, speech, mind, which means all the actions we do physically, all the words we speak, all the thoughts we have, which are driven by anger, jealousy, envy, arrogance, miserliness, and very often, for example, we have attitudes which are driven by our attitude of not like preconcept, like judging others with through an attitude of arrogance and feeling superior, and then treating others with aggression. All this aggressive way of speaking, aggressive way of acting, whenever it's based on any emotion which is coming from arrogance, from hatred, from unlimited attachment, from jealousy, envy, and so on, it's a negative action. It doesn't matter if it manifests through our body, with aggression, through our speech, or only through our mind. So basically, there are many forms of negative actions that is like this, and it's quite common. It's not something that is like, oh, it happens once in a lifetime. No. It's very common. So, the point is very simple here. First question, do I want to get sick? No. So I need to avoid creating causes for sickness. Which means I need to avoid creating negative actions. This is one first step that is important. And it is actually very much straightforward, this part, because it is like, I don't want to have the results, so I need to stop making the causes. It's actually quite simple, you know. But the difficulty that most of us have, I say most of us because I don't know if there's any Buddha between all of us here, but until we are not Buddhas, the difficulty we have is that we have two forms of ignorance, which are the root of our suffering. One ignorance is the ignorance of not seeing interdependence, the ignorance in which we are not able to see the true nature of reality. And then there is the other form of ignorance in which we do not see the law of cause and effect, which means whenever we are experiencing a result, we have no idea which was the cause. Whenever we are acting and creating a new cause, we have no idea which will be the results. So, when we are making an action, difficultly we don't see it as anything so bad and negative because we are not able to connect it with the results that it will bring. But basically, sicknesses are manifestations of negative actions that we have done in the past. So if we want to avoid any, better to avoid creating new negative action. Okay. On the other side, what happens at the same time is that we create negative causes, and then they combine together with negative conditions. What is the difference between a cause and a condition? The main difference is what it is related with, in the sense that every action that we do, every physical action, every word we say, every choice we make, every thought we have, it is at the same time a cause for something that will happen in the future, and a condition for something that we have done in the past, for a cause that is coming from the past. So what I do in the present, I am at the same time accessing the causes I did in the past in order to have a result. So the experience of the present is where we sum together the causes of the past with the conditions of the present. But the same actions that are conditions at the present are also creating new causes for the future. Okay? The same action is always cause and condition. It's a cause for the future, a condition that accesses the causes of the past. Okay? So, to avoid sickness, we need to avoid creating new causes, and we need to take care of the conditions. And here, there are different ways, basically, to take care of the conditions in order not to become sick. Means taking good care of our body, taking good care of our mind, emotionally, mentally, and also physically, taking good care of ourselves. So which means taking care of our lifestyle, what I eat, how do I relate myself to others, how much do I sleep, all things connected to our body. If I do I do enough exercise or not? How stable am I emotionally? All these things are connected because we can take the best care of our body from the physical perspective, but if we do not take care of our emotional stability, it is devastating for the body to have a negative emotion. So also, we need to take care of all aspects connected to the body, which is not so simple. It's quite difficult, actually. Sooner or later, all of us will always have some sort of sickness because we do not really take very much good care of our body also. And some causes in the past, sure, we have somewhere. So sooner or later, they manifest. So one important thing here is that whenever we may get sick or whenever anybody near to us may be sick, it's important for us, first of all, to understand why are we sick or why is someone else sick? Because causes and conditions were created. So we don't need to point the finger towards anyone. We don't need to feel, oh, this is unjust. Because we just feel it is unjust because we are not able to see which were the causes and the conditions. If we could see clearly the cause and the conditions, then we say, now I understand. But we are not able to see them. So basically, just understanding there were cause and conditions, that's why. So the point is not understanding why it is happening. From where did it come? The point is understanding what can I do to change it? Which is the best way how I can deal with it. Okay? Also because when a sickness manifests, then it's too late to to avoid that sickness. It's like the same thing. When do we need to take care of our health? When we are healthy. When we lose our health, it's too late to take care of it. We don't have it anymore. Then is the time to take care of the sickness. To try to bring us back to the state of good health. No? So, in this way, it is important for us to really take good care of the conditions because we cannot expect, no, nothing will ever happen to me. I have seen people from all sorts of people, from great practitioners to wonderful people to get sick, When our karma manifests and the conditions are there is nothing to do. Like the story of Moggallana, one of the disciples of Buddha, the one that is depicted on the side of Buddha. No, he is depicted on the right side of Buddha. And Moggallana, he had incredible capacities of like magical things, like he knew how to disappear or to create all sorts of magical things. And one day he was traveling and he was alone and he passed through a village where people were very much against Buddhism. I don't know exactly why, the context. Anyhow, the fact is that they caught him and they started to beat him up. And they beat him so badly that even though he was able to reach the monastery after, he died out of that. And when he arrived there and he was completely beaten and broken, they asked him, but what happened? And he explained that he said, but why you didn't do some magical things in order to escape from it, And he told, when your karma catches you, there is no way to escape from it. So once sickness manifests, then it's too late. Then we just need to take care of sickness. Then it's not too late in the sense like it's too late to avoid sickness. Then is the time of taking good care. So we need to go to the doctor, need to take the medicines, need to do all whatever we need to do in order to take care of our sickness. But there are some things also from the spiritual perspective that is important for us to do in order to deal with our sickness and also how to deal and help those that are sick, which is not involving directly ourselves, but other people that are near to us that we meet and we know that are sick also. There are things that we can do related to our own sickness than related to the sickness of others. Okay? We're not going to open this subject today. Maybe next Friday we can talk more about this. But the first step that we need to do, both regarding ourselves and others, is to understand that why are we sick? Because causes and conditions were created. So the first thing in order to deal correctly with their sickness is not to be, how to say, angry because of the sickness, not to go against and to have an attitude of feeling, how to say, like, feeling like if I am in a thin attitude of injustice. Oh, this is not right. If the sickness is there, cause and conditions were created, which were, how it was, I don't know. So we need to embrace the sickness, not like get angry with it. We need to take care of it. Okay? We need to really to embrace ourselves in that moment. So we need to take care. We don't need to reject ourselves in that moment. And so, because the first thing that is very important is that mind and body are strongly, deeply connected. And one of the most important things to cure from any disease, it is actually to have a good emotional state. That's why very often it's difficult, because the sickness brings a bad emotional state, and this also makes the sickness worse. It's like a negative cycle that is happening. But in the moment that we understand that it were just cause and conditions, and through our own sickness, we are eliminating some negative causes that we created in the past. And first of all, we need to try to bring ourselves back to a state of emotional stability, and then not feeling this state of constant, how to say, or loss of hope, or negative, how to say, especially avoid anger, avoid this destructive sorts of emotions also. This is one of the first things that is very important. So, both related to our own sickness and also related to others. Whenever there is someone that is sick, if we relate to that person that is sick with an attitude of even anger that the person is sick and this is not right and so on, and we try somehow to find someone how to blame for it, this is not helping in any way. The first thing that we need to do is like to embrace ourselves, to embrace the person that is sick, and to say, deep breath, and say, okay, this is where we are. Now, which is the best way to take care of it? And one of the things that we can do, which I will just touch this subject and the rest we'll see on Friday, one of the things that we should do is actually to find ways. Which one thing is, yes, I am sick, I go to the doctor, I find a good doctor, I take the medicines, I follow the treatment, I change my lifestyle. I need to do everything in order to get cured. It's not just the pill will not help, just the treatment will not help, just alone lifestyle will not be enough, only meditating will not be enough, only prayer will not be enough. We need to work from all different sides together. Everything is connected. So we need to change our lifestyle where what is harming us. We need to take the correct medicines, following a good doctor. We need at the same time to do our own prayers and meditations, and this will help also. All of this is necessary. But one of the points which is important is, even though we are sick, it's not easy. I'm not saying at all that it is easy, but it's important. Even if we are the ones sick for ourselves, it's someone else that is sick for that person, it is that to take away our focus of our mind only on the sickness. If we are only thinking of the sickness and nothing more, if our mind remains completely closed around that cycle, like if we go into a bulb and we only think about that, and then this is how can this be, and then we enter into this inner cycle where we only think about the sickness, we always talk about the sickness, everything goes only about that. This makes just the situation worse. Instead, it's important for us to open our mind also to have the inner space for other things. So, it is even more important, even though it is more difficult, it becomes even more important when we are sick to have a state of peace of mind, to develop positive emotions of joy, to be in a way in a peaceful state. This is even more important in that state. It's always important, but in that state it's even more important. So, when we are sick, we need to take care of the sickness, yes. But at the same time, it's important for us to create space in our life as much as we can in order to generate good emotions, in order to generate space within ourselves. And this is one of the things that we can do with the other persons that are sick also. When there is someone that is sick that we know, that we love, one way is that of, okay, helping the person with the doctors and everything that needs to be done. But the other way is creating nice moments together and trying to help the person to create space within oneself, which is just not only dealing with the sickness. We need also to remember there are many other things in life. There are many ways how we can enjoy things, learning new things, connecting to people, helping other people, feeling oneself that I'm useful and not because I'm sick I cannot do anything, and so on. There are many ways how we can actually do in order to not to be only focused on the sickness itself. So, when there is someone that we love near to us that is sick, one of the things to do is not to stay only talking about the sickness, not to stay only relating to the sickness, but to do other things also that are positive and joyful, that can generate also a good energy together with the person. This is something, so to give love, to be kind, to be nice, to bring something good for that person also. Even in the middle of these very difficult situations, sometimes situations are really extreme. And in these cases, we cannot just force anyone to be happy, but we can just bring our love, try to create space nearby the person. There are different ways how we can actually do that. Okay? So there are different ways of what things that we can do. We'll see more on Friday, but first thing is to create space in our mind, not to be completely overwhelmed only by the sickness, not to be only thinking about the sickness. We need to put space to other things also. Because this inner state of creating space, which is not running away from the sickness. Some people, they just run away from the sickness as if they were creating inner space, like, faking, like acting as if they were not sick at all. That's not a help. The point is that, yes, there's the sickness, I need to go to the doctor, I need to take the medicine, I need to change my lifestyle, and so on. And in the meantime, while I do all of this, I have the people that I love, I have the new things that I'm learning, I have the various ways how I can be useful in life, I have many things that I need to do also in my life. So we need to put energy into other things, not allow this to be the only center of our life. This is something that is very, very important also, okay? Shitsun lame kutse rapten chi namkaratin le chochur gepada losan tempe dreme sasumgi drove munse tautu ne gyur chi nimo dele tsendele nime kunyan delek Takto delek pe koncho sumke jinge lop, koncho sumke ngodrup tsol, koncho sumke trashishon. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. Buona giornata, cresci delle.